In this video, I want to talk about principal parts of a verb. We've just finished a series of videos looking at the ways, the type of information verbs can convey. Person, number, voice, tense, mood, and aspect. Now, the mechanisms for that conveyance, the way that the verbs do it, the way that the people do it, you have three types, right? You have word order and just added words, so we can call that sort of just diction, vocabulary. But word order is very important there for English. You have modal words like the will, the should, the if, the then, the let's pray, let's sing, that sort of thing. So modal words and phrases can also convey all these dimensions, right, of information concerning the clause and what it's trying to say about space, time, and displacement, reality, a human being's existence in the world. Now, there's another very important way that this information is conveyed, and that's inflection. You have inflection, you have word order, you have modal words. Many ancient languages and still many current foreign languages use inflection to a heavy degree. So it's very important that you understand this. And if you're trying to learn Greek and Latin through these videos, you are dealing with a heavily inflected language. So inflection is what you really need to focus on here. And inflection is really just taking the word, the proto version of a verb or whatever, and then tinkering with it. So you got this 8-letter verb or whatever, and you might want to add a letter to the front and then add some to the back, and you change the spelling of it. People can still kind of recognize it as the same type of word. Take our word run, and then if we're going to add ing, now that's still an inflection we use in English. Okay, running, well, there we have it. We can still kind of see that the word is related. These words are family members, if you will. They resemble each other, and because of their meaning, it's more than just a superficial resemblance, right? But they're different words with different information. Run, running, ran, right? So we tinker, we switch the spellings, we add letters, we take away letters. We can add letters to the front of the word, we can add letters to the back of the word, we can add letters to the middle of the word. Or we might not add any letters, we might just flip letters or change one out for another. Inflection, that's inflection, okay? So because you have 6 tenses, right? You have the simple 3 and then the complex 3. Simple being just one event, past, present, future. Complex being 2 events in relation to each other in the past, the present, or the future, right? That's 6 tenses. And because you have 6 dimensions, okay, that each one of those tenses can take concerning 5 really, because the tense is one of the 6. But number, person, voice, mood, aspect, that each one of those tenses can take. You end up with you can end up with a surprisingly large number of related words. And it's my theory that inflection kind of came about, if you will, or was given to us. The origins of language are very interesting, very mysterious. I do believe that we are created by a creator to know the divine and to participate in the divine. And part of our ordained makeup or programming is language. We were just given the ability to learn it. We were given the deep grammar, okay? And then depending on the time and place where we are given this beautiful ongoing experience of reality, what exact language we speak can differ greatly. But anyway, not the deep grammar. See, now, because you can have all these, that's a, each of the 6 can have 5. We're talking at least 30 there, and then it gets more. You just watch it happen. If you keep on studying Greek for the rest of your life, you're going to run into just an amazing amount, Greek and Latin, of verbs. So I don't have it with me, but there's a series of books called 501 Spanish verbs, 501 French words, 501 Greek words, 501 Latin verbs, uh, the 501, language verbs, Russian verbs, is this ongoing series of books. And if you just buy one of those and open up and look at one verb, you'll see all the ways. Now, at one point I counted, and I was some high number that I was surprised at that certain verbs had. Anyway, the point I'm trying to say is that it gets there's just a lot you're going to have to do with these verbs. So it helps if you do this, okay? It helps if you do this. It helps if you look at if you say, look, there are, what are the principal ways we use verbs? Okay, for example, there might be tense is huge. Like we're always talking about the past, present, perfect. Okay, future. So you might say, look, I'm just saying, if you were creating this language from scratch, right? You might say, look, when it comes to present tense simple, just the one event in the past, the present, or the future, we're going to have the root of the verb be a certain way. So a verb is going to stand before you as a complete word, right? But an inflective language is going to say, let's split this. Let's reserve the right to tinker with the endings. So we're going to have a root stem, a stem or a root that we don't tinker with, so that you can recognize it as the verb, and then we're going to tinker with the ending. So that root is preserved as the inflection happens by adding stuff to the beginning or the end of that stem. Okay, so you have the root, and then you have the non-root. Let's just for sake of simplicity say the ending, right? The variable. The root doesn't change, but the ending does. As you use inflection to add this information to pack it into the verb. The thing is, what if you could look at the root and say, well, let's have 6 different types of roots, or 5 different types of roots, or 4 different types of roots. So in other words, you're gonna say the root itself can be divided a little bit, and the root could have a very strong center root, and we can tinker with the beginning or ending of this. And so now you have 2 types of endings, right? You're going to have this verb, right? And you're going to have this root that just shrank a little bit on you. And you're going to have the ending of the root, right? And then you're going to have the ending that can go next to the ending of the root, right? So the principal parts is just that. It's the root and a change that has been made to the root in a way that new version of the root is considered the new root for, let's say, indicative present tense or past tense or future tense. Now, if you want to go perfect, right, then you might take the root of the verb, the original verb, and say, now let's make a different change to it. Let's add an E to it, okay? Excuse me. There's some things that I'm thinking Greek will do to the front and the end of this root. And then that becomes the new version of the root. And then you can just add stuff to that. And because of that version of the root, whatever is happening on the end, the real end of it, you're dealing with a perfect version of it. Perfect past, perfect present, perfect future. I will switch those things around. Like I can say perfect past or past perfect. Traditionally, the tense goes first, and then the perfect tag, like past perfect, present perfect, future perfect, but whatever, okay? The point is, principal parts are just that. Principal parts are roots that are stemming from an original root, right? They've had some sort of change done to them to indicate whether they're future or perfect or aorist or imperfect or subjunctive or optative or passive. They've had something done to them, right? So you look at it and say, okay, I know that this is a passive active, this is a passive form of the verb, right? And then the person and number can be conveyed through the way the actual ending of that new root, if you will, changes. So the thing is, for Greek and Latin verbs, you're going to have a proto root, like that's usually found in what we call the infinitive, right? You're going to have this very center collection of letters, central. That's not going to change on you, okay? But then you can make changes to that. You can make 5 or 6 different types of changes, so you have 5 or 6 different types of roots stemming from the original root. What do you want to call these? Subroots or whatever? I don't know. But those are roots in the sense that they will stay the same as you tinker with their endings or their beginnings, right? And we don't call those roots. We just call those principal parts. Okay. That's how I've learned it. That's how I see it at work. So if you're learning a language that has principal parts, that's what you're kind of dealing with. You're dealing with a second level root, if you will, to just simplify matters so that you know you're in the perfect realm, or you know you're in the passive realm, or you're in the pluperfect. Oh, by the way, I should have mentioned this in the tenses, but past perfect is very often referred to as pluperfect, because the Latin is just more. So, it's perfect more, in the sense of this is a past perfect. All right. So past perfect can be known as pluperfect. Okay. Thank you for watching about principal parts. Again, I would just recommend go online, watch this video, watch a few more, get other examples, get other explanations, find the common denominator of the ones that are readable to you. And that's how you move forward. I feel like it's almost impossible, unless you are naturally gifted, to learn a foreign language with just one source. You will drink very shallow from the well, and it's just I don't know. You need a really strong grasp of the heart of a language, the core of a language. I'm not saying you have to be fluent in it. That's not what I'm saying. But you do have to have a good grasp of how the grammar actually works for languages in general, so that you don't go and just simply look at one online source that sort of parses a verb for you, and then you're like, okay, well, that's what it is. Hopefully you get to the point where you can understand how to kind of move in that arena of analysis yourself, so that you can be a little more strong than just taking that commentary's word that this is, what that form of the verb means, right? Hey, I digress a bit here. Thank you for watching.